What's going on, friends, family? My name is Skylent, and I'm too excited to bring you news about Dawngate, the Revival Project. This was a MOBA that used to exist. It was published by EA, and the people behind it obviously had so much love and passion for this title. And it was one that, even though I kind of at the time hated MOBAs, because so many were coming out, Dawngate was one that was kind of just a little bit special in ways, and it actually truly, this is the one game that helped get me into the genre. From Dawngate, I learned about Smite. I played Smite and then played League of Legends, then Dota 2, and now I played all the MOBAs. But Donggate, and similar to me and many of you, this one held kind of a special place in our hearts. Even though, you know, it wasn't too uproarious, it wasn't too radical, it wasn't too different, it wasn't, in a lot of ways, it wasn't too special, and yet it was somehow, some way. One thing that I love to talk about was that they were actually doing a comic series. This is something that's pretty rare. I think only at the time Team Fortress 2 really did that. And now more and more games, these games as a service are doing stuff like that. But Donggate, they started a, the comic book series. They were updating the game consistently. They had some new characters. The newest characters were really exciting. And actually, just as I tweeted, I was actually tweeting at them. I was like, okay, when are we going to start the esport circuit and stuff like that? And the developers responded to me on Twitter saying, oh boy, it's about to start. It's about to hit the ground running. Literally the next day, Donggate announced that it would be shutting down, shuttering, sunsetting the Donggate. And this was kind of a big blow to, I think, the hype train that MOBAs were riding, because there was a lot of really fun MOBA games coming out, from Air Mech to some browser-based ones like Tome Immortal Arena. I played all of them. I had a lot of fun, and Donggate was really special too. But this was like one of the first ones where it's like, oh, I guess there is some saturation. I guess maybe there's too many MOBAs or too much competition. I don't know what it is, but you know, things started to derail from there. And Donggate did shut down, but it actually had some cool ideas. And there, I really did appreciate, I think, the way it was designed to help new players get into the MOBA genre, where the itemization was even more simplistic and easier understood than League of Legends. Though I don't know if it exactly had pros to go up with that, with that lack of complexity. They did have some interesting base mechanics, kind of some conquest mechanics. We'll talk about that later. But basically, just wanted to tell you that Dawngate, wasn't a perfect game, and it wasn't the most hype of all MOBAs ever, surely, but it really was never given the chance either. It could have developed into something really fantastic. It could have been, I think, a fruitful endeavor by EA, but they pulled the plug. And now, today, we're going to do this video. There is a Kickstarter for Dawngate. It's titled Dawngate, the Revival Project. The MOBA genre redefined. Now, I don't know if it's going to stand up to that subtitle, but the thing is that it already has, as of right now, 582 backers. As of apparently like the first day, maybe this is the second day, they've already got their goal. So, I mean, like, what is there to do? What is there to talk about? Well, what's there to talk about is a celebration that this is going to be a thing, guys. Dawngate is coming back. The sunsetted MOBA has a new dawn. Dawngate has raised $74,000 or about $75,000 of their $50,000 goal. They have 58 days to go. They're probably going to get way more funding, and I think there's definitely some excitement. This is something that has been a buzz for a long time in a lot of videos that I've created. Like, I would make videos like free-to-play games I wish people played more of, and people would talk about shutdown games. They'd be like, oh man, I miss Gigantic, Paragon, and Donggate. Those are the three games that always come up, and Paragon is getting remade. People really want to make Gigantic. And WildStar, sure, there's a couple of games, some free-to-play games that have come and gone, but Donggate is always also right there in the conversation. Whether I'm talking about shutdown games, free-to-play games, or otherwise, if I just talk about anything nostalgic, people are like, oh man, you remember that game Donggate? Like, that's how hungry people are. They just want to insert it into anything they possibly could. Donggate, is that going to be a thing again? And apparently it is. So, awesome. Let's do that. So, basically, the aim of the Kickstarter was to prove the viability of Donggate. So, like, a lot of these Kickstarters, what they do is they kind of create themselves, not just to fully fund themselves. Obviously, $50,000 is actually pretty low, since they have to actually purchase the license from EA and then kind of make the game again and republish it, especially, funding the sport scene, stuff like that. So it's still, that's very little money. But this, instantaneously funding it all the way through, and, obviously the buzz and excitement from the community, this is to show investors that people want to play this game. And again, it didn't hit the ground running like League of Legends. No, it wasn't the League of Legends, but compared to many other MOBAs, this is one that people still talk about, and people did play it a little bit. So, this is to show the viability of the game, which we can see. It's viable, it's going to be a thing. this is going to be a game that's going to get remade, it's going to be repurchased, and it is going to be created. So Studio Wayfinder, they're a group of dedicated, passionate individuals spread across the globe, working remotely in tandem to bring back the MOBA game Dawngate. I think that's pretty awesome. In fact, guys, Studio Wayfinder, if you need somebody to do a social media management or community management of any kind or moderation, I'm right there with you. If you need a caster of some kind, I will help you out. I will definitely, I'll pimp you out. I don't know what to say. Like, I'm just really excited about this. Donggate being the very first MOBA I ever touched. Yeah, and I will admit, just a little history. I was reluctant to play MOBAs. Wasn't really my game. I was really more of an MMO player, but I had to because I worked for a company called Free MMO Station, and they're like, "Oh, go review this game," and I was like, "Fine, whatever." Instead of playing a game or two, instead of just doing a first look like I normally would do, I ended up spending way too much time in this game, and I kept going back to it even after playing lots of different MOBAs because there was something, there was something to it. So I really appreciate Donggate being my introduction, my gate into my gateway into the MOBA genre. But Dawngate, it was a MOBA initially developed by Waystone Games and published by EA that began development somewhere between 2010 and 2012, with testing for the game beginning in May 2013. The game would consist of a 5v5 playstyle where each player would control what is called a shaper in this game, which is, like your champions, your heroes, what have you. They're called shapers in Dawngate, and combine their efforts in order to defeat the opposing team's Spirit Guardian. That was a really unique concept, is you actually had like a raid boss to fight at the end. Each Spirit Guardian would actually defend itself through being static, and, it can't move around, but it's going to shoot laser beams and shit, and it will attack enemy shapers and minions on its own, utilizing the power of cores, which could be disabled. Now, this is something that we kind of see in games like Smite, but not really. In Donggate, it was taken up an extra notch. And as well, I can say that throughout its jungle, I think League of Legends actually straight up took notes from Donggate whenever it was creating its sort of new jungle mechanics. So yeah, unlike other games in the genre, Dongate's shapers were all resourceless. The whole game was focused around a totally different playstyle, much like the difference between World of Warcraft and a game like Guild Wars 2, allowing them to use abilities at will without cost, creating a far more competitive game, debatable, experience, but also allowing new players to pick up and play any character without confusion as to how they operated. Now, that is something really cool. That is something that some people find polarizing, a double-edged sword, you could say, with Guild Wars 2 and games that use resourceless stuff. But then again, it does, really that's going to go with the theme of what Donggate was, is that everything was just a little bit more straightforward, so you can get into the, I guess, bunny ears real game of the MOBA. And it was really a great, fantastic stepping stone into what is an incredibly complicated genre. And the thing is that this is not like the most minimalistic MOBA I ever played. You ever play the Adventure Time MOBA? I played a lot of mini or lo-fi MOBAs out there. Donggate was a really sexy mixture of simplicity and as well still actually having some engrossing mechanics. So similar to other MOBAs, each shaper would have access to items, which could be purchased with a currency called Vim in this game, as well as spells that they obtained at the beginning of the game. Yeah, so basically like summoner spells. And as the game progressed, so you get more and more and level those up. The items were unique in that there were basically just 6 base items, and then from there it was sort of like a tree that you kind of just continuously evolved. So you didn't have to worry about, like in Dota especially, or in League of Legends a little bit, where it's like, does this item turn into this item? What items do I need to accrue to turn it into another item? It was just really like, okay, you get life. The item is literally called life. You get life, that gives you, imagine this, health. And then, you go on through down the line, something might give you more life, something might give you maybe a shield when you get hit at a certain point. I'm just kind of bullcrapping here. But stuff was really, really simplistic and just very instantaneous. Like you could just kind of pick it up and instantaneously kind of get it. You want to play a tank? Well, you're probably going to get resilience and life and go down those trees. Just, done. So also an interesting aspect of Donggate, being a MOBA, the arena design. How is this designed? League of Legends being very inspired by Dota, is actually a very flat style game, but still the shape is very similar. Many MOBAs also had that 3-lane design, but actually in Donggate, they kind of twisted a little bit, especially with their focus on what I would consider the jungle. And this is actually why today jungling is my favorite position in any MOBA ever, always, is because of Donggate and their jungle mechanics. So the map was designed with 2 lanes, just 2 lanes. This also made the game a little bit less confusing of where players should maybe go and what they should do and how they can help each other out. And then in the middle and also on the sides of it was the jungle. There was kind of like different three parts of the jungle. And also like inside of the jungle, there's like these conquest points, which kind of are reminiscent of RTS games where you have like resource nodes. And so you can actually go take those over. So yeah, that's neat. And there's different buffs and stuff you can get in the jungle as well. But yeah, currency in the game, how you actually leveled up and stuff like that. Not as wild as it might seem like from Heroes of the Storm, another unique MOBA, which is not sunsetted, but not quite doing so great. But this game had some cool ways to generate income. So some standard to the genre, but the inclusion of the well and worker system, which is what I mentioned, kind of similar to RTS's, Dawngate set itself apart with that mechanic, basically, especially the jungle play. As part of the game loop, a team would control any number of the 4 wells on the map, which would be tended to by a number of workers, generating additional passive income for the team. Now, these wells would be locked and then unlocked after 15 minutes during gameplay, allowing them to be taken by the opposing team or defended by the current holding team. The workers that operated these wells could be killed by the opposition, stemming the levels of additional income generation for the team that held that well temporarily. So you had a couple of really strategic things that weren't just ramming yourself into a lane. Something that happens very often in games, maybe a little bit like Smite and especially League of Legends, where people, they just want to sit in bottom lane and just dig it out. But this game, I felt more than most, aside maybe from Heroes of the Storm, had players really rotating lanes, moving around, and especially playing in that jungle, baby. I loved it. Yeah. So another cool aspect to the game that they had was the role system, actually. So this isn't quite a role queue that you might imagine that you're seeing a lot of games do now. Hopefully, actually, I would actually suggest that Donggate, if you do introduce this game again, which you are, it's being made, it is actually going to be funded. If the game is actually successful and has a lot of players, please put in a role queue for people to play different types of roles inside of this game. There's obviously a jungler role, there's obviously stuff and things like that. But then I guess it's not needed. Dota has a soft role queue. I don't know. That's personally how I like to play games. But this role system worked a little bit differently. Basically, this allowed players to identify themselves as one of 4 archetypes, affecting their gold generation throughout the game, such as if you had the Gladiator, you get bonus gold from last hitting lane troops. Generally, I guess Gladiator would be something like a carry. Tactician bonus gold for harassing enemy shapers. This is more kind of the support. You might imagine like the mage supports and stuff from inside of League of Legends. And then Predator, bonus gold from killing enemy shapers and bonus gold for killing workers at Spirit Wells. Predator would generally be the jungle. And then you have Hunter, bonus gold when killing jungle creeps, dealing bonus damage to jungle creeps, and heal after, and that's also going to be the jungle as well. I imagine you can kind of pick and choose which one you kind of want. I guess Mono Predator would probably make more sense for maybe like the top laner or the roamer. It's kind of a little bit complicated because there's only 2 lanes and there's a whole lot of jungle. But basically, I guess you could say Hunter, jungle, Tactician, support, Gladiator, carry, and Predator would be like kind of what the mid role is in, I guess, Dota, or the top lane role is in League of Legends. So yeah, Dongate's map was symmetrical, all that good stuff. Had a lot of fun stuff. Also, I kind of liked this aspect that they had, but I will actually criticize this as well. They had this thing that was very reminiscent of, I guess, League of Legends, the talent system. And hopefully this gets remade a little bit because it's a little confusing. I love talent trees. The League of Legends talent tree is actually so fucking inspirational that I want to make a whole minigame based on it. But Donggate kind of had that too. It reminded me of like the old rune system, but literally the runes are kind of like inventory managed in terms of like shapes. So you have these different shapes and different glyphs or whatever you can put into the shapes. And so you kind of like get passive buffs and things from that. I think you could debate, like you actually had to earn these things, which I would have to criticize heavily about. I think that a talent tree system or something like that would be much better. Actually, they even call it out. Game customization systems similar to runes and masteries. I think that this is the one thing that I could actually slap in the face. I actually want this to be almost entirely reworked because passive buffs and things like that, like the old League of Legends system, which this was heavily based off of, basically this was actually just kind of a more complex version and not as good. If you want to emulate modern League of Legends and remake the system, but in the image of modern League with their new talent trees and how it changes gameplay, absolutely. Don't just give simple passive buffs. Have stuff where it's like, okay, once you shield somebody or, you know, you CC somebody, you explode for damage and you get like armor buff, or, you know, when you attack someone, you slow them. You know, things that really modify and enhance the gameplay instead of just simple, you get more health, you do a little bit more damage on hit, the modern League of Legends system is objectively better, more complex, way more interesting, and honestly, like, much easier to understand and play competitively. And it's fair. It's more fair. So that's one thing I will say. Donggate, that was a cool feature, I guess, for back in the day, but nowadays, I don't think it'll actually fly. Please heavily consider changing that. So yeah, in 2014, EA closed its doors on this game, on Dawngate. But now it's been 6 years later, 2020, guys. There are tons and tons of people who want this game. I know myself, when I last played, I was playing the new character Kensu. He was like this archer person. It kind of reminded me a lot of Rengar. And frankly, yeah, some characters had inspirations for sure. And there's nothing wrong with that. But overall, like, I don't know, the newer characters especially were definitely kind of the spice that I really wanted. And I definitely missed it. When I personally play games like this, like, I mean, even from Overwatch or fighting games like Smash Bros. And then League of Legends, I don't play to play Smash. I don't play to play Overwatch. I play to play Sombra. I play to play Ridley. I play to play, I guess, Thresh. I like Thresh a lot. I'm playing a lot of sport in League of Legends, but I play certain characters in these games. And Donggate, for the longest time, for like the very beginning, a lot of it was kind of vanilla, but I will say the newer characters were definitely the spice that I liked. So hopefully we can get maybe a little bit more twists and a modern innovation when it comes to these characters when we remake this game. I really hope it's not just a one-to-one republishing, though that would still be fine. I think we can go a little bit deeper and better. I hope we continue the story. The story was actually interesting in terms of the comic, and I really hope that we can push the sport, because this does need to be a sport. MOBAs are sports. So that's going to be a big thing there. So yeah, basically, if you look at the Kickstarter, they say all these things that they were innovative and special and awesome and stuff like that. And how they had features that other MOBAs, just later actually implemented. And that's probably true as well. But Donggate isn't, completely going to be fresh out of the oven when it re-releases. And there are going to be some things that are going to be seen as dated, but I still think it's going to be an exciting game. And I think finally we can actually get this game a shot to actually evolve. See, that was the thing, is it always could have evolved. It could have always changed. Look how much Dota has changed, or League of Legends has changed, or even Smite, There's so much innovation that can happen in a single game, and that's why I love these living, breathing games. And I really need Donggate to sport it up and champion it. Champion itself, really. A lot of games don't do that. And EA didn't let them do that. EA did not champion them, and obviously, they now have to buy back the rights to remake this game. So they got the money, they have the support, and they're probably gonna get more investors. I think a lot of you guys are gonna get excited. There's probably gonna be a hell of a lot of thumbs up on this video, a lot of comments, spitting at the screen like I am, like, yes, all right, let's play this game. But is it too late? Is it too late for another MOBA? Here's the Storm just canceled its esports circuit, And when's the last time we had a new MOBA that was like actually good, not like, some weird shit like Bleeding Edge or whatever? It's all about hero shooters and battle royales. No, you guys, you know what? That's the thing, is I don't think it matters. And yeah, Paragon did shut down. That's true. And what happened to Gigantic? That you can look at all these examples of games that have shut down and failed. But every single time that has happened, I have said it was published incorrectly. Because whenever these games shut down, from WildStar to, MOBAs or even arena shooters, it's always an aspect of, well, these were games as a service that weren't allowed to really be services. They didn't quite operate correctly. And obviously, I will say, I'm going to call out the big bad guy here. I do think EA did a horrible job publishing this game. And it's not just EA. There was actually a bunch of MOBAs from Crytek or, a bunch of Ubisoft. They were making a bunch of them, and they just cut them dry. But Donggate was one that truly had potential, and it really needed to live up to it. So you can go check out their Kickstarter, go throw some money at them if you want to. And you know what? I don't know, like this video, share it if you want to, get people hyped about it. But Donggate, the Revival Project, the MOBA genre redefined, it's coming back. We're back, boys. And yeah, if I can, I will be playing this game probably a lot. I will probably cast the games if we actually do have an esports scene. I don't know if you can tell, but I can talk pretty fast, and I think I can talk pretty eloquently and pretty clearly for, what I'm doing. I'm spitting a lot at the screen, but that's fine. I think that I could actually do a good job. So, and I really want to see this game live because, frankly, guys, I don't think you understand. I love jungling, and I love all the little macro mechanics of that. And from that, it led me to play games like Albion Online or even Guild Wars 2, where I just go out and I love trying to solo different monsters, or I kind of jungle in a lot of different games. It gave me this sort of minimalistic appreciation for just really just good core game design, let alone just being a solid MOBA, right? So I really appreciate this game for introducing me to a type of gameplay that I didn't know existed at the time, and now I live it pretty much every day. So yeah, thank you so much, Donggate, for the memories, but now here's to looking forward to the future and making more memories and sharing experiences with my friends and family. Thanks for watching, guys. I don't know, all I can ask is you keep the hype alive. And thanks so much for the donators and sponsors for the Patreon. Help me, give me time to look at and do some research, play these games, buy these games, and, invest in these games and give them a spotlight when they deserve it. And Donggate absolutely deserves spotlight. Deserved it all this time, but once again, I think so too. All right, guys, that's it. Much love. I'll see you in the next one.